Hello, Dr. Nick from Beyond Midnight Consulting. Now, this episode is all about different sleep stages and specifically what some of these sleep stages relate to. Now, this is quite complex and normally I use graphs to back this up, but I'll tell you right now, we do different sleep stages and different sleep cycles. So the way it works is that we go from being wide awake into stage one sleep. Stage one sleep's not true sleep. It's almost like a crossover zone. Think of it as the lights are on but no one's home. If you're driving quite dangerously. You don't see things or process what you see for about 1 to 2 seconds instead of almost instantly. And when you see something run out on the road, the chances are you'll hit it before the brain has time to work out. You should probably try and avoid it. So stage one's a very dangerous time to be driving or operating machinery, obviously. If you're in bed, that's fantastic. That's where you want to be. If you're sitting on the lounge with your partner, you'll be tuning out. You won't be taking in what's on TV. You won't be taking in what your partner says and so on. Now, stage one usually runs for about 3 to 7 minutes. Then you'll hit stage two. Stage two sleep, this is where some of the magic starts happening. In stage two, we start laying down short-term memory. So we take the memories that we built up from the day, anything we've learnt, and we put them memories from these areas of the brain around here, right across the entire cortex of the brain for long-term storage. This is part two of learning. So it's a very critical part of our sleep. Now in stage two sleep, you are cut off from the rest of the world, but it's still quite a light sleep. It's easy to wake up in stage two. A loud noise or a bump or something like that can wake you up. Stage two runs for a certain while. Also in stage two, we are beginning the process of supporting our immune system. And we do this throughout the whole sleeping night. So again, very important, and especially in COVID times, you want to get as much good quality sleep for 7 to 8 hours every night as possible to try and build up the best defense against not only COVID, but everything else, including the common flus that we get. So stage two, again, very important. Then we move through that and into stage 3 and 4, deep sleep. Now, a lot of groups now just call this deep sleep or stage 3 sleep. I don't really care what you want to call it. It's deep sleep, and your brain now goes into maintenance mode. So your brain is becoming much less active in deep sleep. And because a lot of the senses are now turned off, such as things like heat, smell, hearing, and obviously there's no vision because your eyes are closed, you basically almost become blind and deaf is probably the best way to look at that. Now, this is why we need a working smoke alarm, because if there's a fire in your house and you're in deep sleep, the olfactory bulbs are not working, so you don't smell the smoke. What you need is a really piercing siren going off to actually wake you up from that partial deafness that you have in deep sleep. Okay, so that's part of it. Now, what do you get out of deep sleep? Well, let's look at one of my favorite hormones, serotonin. Serotonin, you could call that your happy juice, basically. You should get a total of about 2 hours of deep sleep every night. And the way we do our deep sleep is in the first cycle of sleep, which runs for about 90 minutes, you should get up to about 60 minutes of deep sleep, and then you'll get more in subsequent cycles as you go through the night. Now, this serotonin is the link between sleep and having a healthy mental wellness or fitness. And the more serotonin you have in the brain, the more able you're able to have problems during the day where stuff happens and you just shrug it off and go, okay, that's not a big deal. I can deal with that. No problems at all. It's not going to faze me. It's not going to upset me. It's not going to cause problems because I'm full of serotonin. It's a happy day for me, and I'm going to keep it happy. So that's what serotonin's all about. When people are clinically depressed, they get very little deep sleep. That's one of the problems with depression. And because they get very little deep sleep, they get very little serotonin, which is why they need the antidepressant, such as a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. So, and again, this link between mental health and sleep is an important one. And it's not just sleep, it's also diet and exercise, because you have a ton of neurons in your stomach that basically identify the foods that go in there. And the better the foods, and we'll do a separate session on some good foods for this, the better the foods, the happier the mood you get from eating these foods. Now, if you exercise at least 30 minutes every day, that's again good for the gut, but it's also good for driving the brain into more deep sleep and releasing more serotonin to help fight that black dog we call depression. So this link between sleep and mental health is very, very solid and very, very important. So again, deep sleep, very important for mental health and mental fitness. Also in deep sleep, we get big releases of human growth hormone. That's good for every cell in the body. Sets off a chain reaction within the body, and eventually every cell in the body gets tickled up so that it's in perfect condition the next day to allow glucose in to penetrate little perforations in the cell, which then gets turned into energy. When you don't get enough of this human growth hormone and the corresponding chemicals that allow the cells to get in perfect condition, the cells tend to tighten up their walls, the glucose cannot penetrate, and those cells become what we call glucose intolerant, which means unable to produce energy. And if this is going on for the whole of the body, then you will feel flat and lethargic for the whole day. You'll have no energy, or it'll feel like you've got no energy. And one of the outcomes to that is you can't get up and do much, but you'll also tend to crave high glucose foods because you're thinking you'll get a good hit out of this and you'll get more energy. Well, if the glucose still can't penetrate, then you're still in trouble. And what happens is that glucose turns into glycogen, which then gets converted to fat, and it goes on your bum. So the less you sleep, the easier it is to put on weight. So the more you eat when you're tired, the fatter you get and the less energy you actually get into the cells. So it's a no-win there. Again, this is where deep sleep is very important for health and wellness. Now, once you've done the first lot of deep sleep, you'll then go back up and do some more stage 2, you do some more memory learning and some rehearsing of memories. Then you get to Rem sleep, where some pretty magical things happen. And what we do there is the brain does a bit of a sort out of the new memories in comparison to what's already up there, and there's usually billions of bits of information already there. This is part 3 of learning. Let's sort out that stuff that you've just freshly laid down as new long-term memories, and we'll make sense of how it all attaches, what it attaches to, and where it fits in the whole scheme of things. This is where we can actually do some of us most clever thinking, and people sort out some pretty logical solutions in their brain while they're sleeping, just by adding new memories to the old ones and sorting out complex problems that they may have had for years. And there's many, many different examples of that. I could go through them, but that would make this YouTube clip very long. You're better off reading the book that's coming out in 22, Beyond Midnight, The Wonder of Sleep, and that will fully explain that. Now, once you've done your first 90-minute cycle, you'll do your second one where you'll do a bit less sleep in deep sleep and a little bit more REM sleep. The third cycle, you're up to 4.5 hours now, less deep sleep again, more rapid eye movement sleep. Once you get to the fourth and fifth cycles of 90 minutes, you're doing nearly all REM sleep or rapid eye movement sleep, hence a lot of dreaming as we're waking up. So again, very important to remember these different stages of sleep. Now, what is REM sleep good for? As I said, it's good for sorting out all of your new learnings, but also it rehearses your safety. Now, this is crucially important. If you drive anywhere or work in any occupation that is safety critical, you need sleep to maintain your safety awareness every day. And you'll get through your day without having to stop and think, whoa, exactly what is the way we need to do this so we don't get hurt? We actually rehearse this while we sleep. And I don't care what anyone says, we will never achieve target zero, either on the roads or in any workplace, until we get this sleep thing right. That's Dr. Nick signing off for another episode. We'll see you next time.